Now, you said you're in a town of 2,100. That's about the same size of the town I'm in, and I would say that statistically, about 80% of all Wesleyan churches are in small communities like that. And I do think that in the past, maybe 5 or 6 years, we've seen a move to plant more in the major cities, and I think that's definitely something we've got to do. How do we find that balance of planting in new areas, but then taking these churches like yours was 20 years ago, like mine is now, that maybe has struggled in the past, but still has a place and purpose? What can other churches do? What can our denomination do to kind of re-energize churches like that?
Oh man, that's it. I mean, that is so important, because here's the deal. I believe that revival is going to come into our land,
right?
And it's going to start in the small town and rural community.
Right.
Pretty much every revival movement from history has started in the rural and small town context. I mean, like Northampton was a small town.
Yeah.
Lucknow, Wales, were the Welsh revival, just a little dinky little town.
That's right.
Hey, Capernaum was a small town. Jesus, he was a small town preacher.
That's right.
It all starts in a small town, but you don't stay in the small town.
Right.
I was in Manhattan a while back. There was a Wesleyan brother that I went to his steakhouse that he owns in Manhattan. He took me to his steakhouse.
Nice.
So we sat down and we had dinner together, and I had a steak from Nebraska and a potato from Idaho, and I had some carrots and beans, from Iowa and Indiana.
Yeah.
The wheat was grown in Kansas for the roll that I had there in Manhattan.
Yeah.
All of that stuff was from the country.
Right.
Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Even though I was eating it in Manhattan.
Right.
And the idea is that the rural America is what feeds urban America.
Yes.
And if that's true physically, it can also be true spiritually. That the rural churches are the feeders for the mission, the urban mission.
Yeah.
So for instance, the children that grow up within the rural context, may God send them out to be missionaries in the urban area.
Absolutely.
Because see, the city desperately needs rural values, like the small town values. Have you ever heard anybody say, "Let's get back to big city values"?
No.
Nobody ever say that, because nobody wants to go back to big city values.
Right.
They want to go back to the small town values of community and integrity and those kinds of things that we everybody honors. You see that. And the rural church is a great place for that to happen. Also, I here's Rick Warren, Joel Osteen, let's see, Norman Vincent Peale, that guy, Robert Schuller, just go on and on and on. All of them, Billy Graham, they all were from the small town rural.
Yeah, right.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
Either their dads were either country preachers or farmers.
Yeah.
Sometimes both.
Yeah.
And what I think is that the small church, particularly the small rural church, is the best training ground for future ministry. Like kids, they say that it might be like a junior in high school. In a small church, they would be more likely to be asked to teach the primary Sunday school class than if it was a church of like 2,000.
Right.
They wouldn't want a 16-year-old kid doing that stuff there.
Absolutely.
But and music wise too. The kids, if they get the opportunity to use their skills and their talents and their abilities, the best place is in the smaller context. Yeah, so I see that just beautifully, so we need to value that and think of these as the launching pads.
Yeah. I was very fortunate when I was 16, got called to ministry in a country church, and immediately the pastor, we were preaching on, there's 3 of us, we were preaching on Wednesday nights, we soon were preaching on Sunday mornings. He started an internship program, but we would go in at 9 in the morning, and he would just say, "These 3 people in the hospital, go." And I'm telling you, it was amazing. And I've got to.
How old were you in that?
I was 16 when I got called, and then it was my freshman year of college at Southern Wesleyan.
And you were going and visiting people in the hospital. That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
And I've got an intern, who's working with me now, and he's been with me 2 months, and this Sunday will be his second time preaching. He's taught our main Sunday school class, and I asked him the other day. I said, there's so many ministry students who go through 4 years of college of studying for ministry. They don't do any ministry.
Yeah.
And I just thought, man, our church is just like. I'm not saying, man, come to our church, I'm going to teach you everything. I'm saying, come to our church and you can try everything. And I definitely feel like what you said, I feel like we're a laboratory. I feel like our church is so open that since I've been there 2 months, we've tried so many new things, some different videos. This Sunday we're team teaching, and I just feel like we've got to take more advantage of that. Because all of our Wesleyan universities are in small towns.
Yeah. And
so we've got to get the students, I think, plugged in to get them trained, give them opportunities. I totally agree with you. That's where that's where we can train people. And now let's kind of switch gears a little bit. How long have you been blogging? You are one of my blogging heroes because you've been doing it a long time. You don't some days you post something short, sometimes it's long. But how did you get into blogging, and how has that enhanced your ministry or opened up new avenues of ministry for you?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks, Heath. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your blog too. That's good stuff.
I'm trying.
But anyway, I started blogging. Really, seriously, after my sabbatical.
Right.
I took a sabbatical probably, I don't know how many years ago, but it was maybe about 6 years ago, something like that. And I've been blogging ever since.
Yeah.
I had made a false start, which it's easy to do. Most bloggers do that.
Yes. Yes.
They start and then sputter out. There are lots and lots that I have friends, I have that have started blogging and then they don't post for a long time. But it's been really, really, really big for me. Way bigger than I ever imagined it was going to be. And it depends, on the week and what I post and who picks it up and stuff like that.
Right.
But every now and then, I'll have one that gets picked up and then a whole bunch of them get it.
Yeah.
And then it just really goes. I end up with 1,000 on in one day. Different people coming from all over the world.
Oh yeah.
It's just amazing. And things like different opportunities and then to speak have come out of that. Books, they send me free books to review, and sometimes I just I get inundated with too many of those. And writing articles and things from time to time. It's opened up friendships with some people. People that I've never met yet, even.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, Mark Batterson. We've dialogued lots of times back and forth.
Right.
But I've never officially met him yet. I'm going to soon. But anyway, so that's been really neat. I even though I post every day but Sunday. I don't post on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I don't write them all every day. I don't write them every single day.
Right.
Sometimes I'll write if you see a short one, it's probably because I posted it I put up about 6 or 7 of those and posted them so they all come up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I think a lot of people that don't blog don't realize that you can go in and type all your stuff and set it up for ahead of time and
Oh yeah. So it's not like I'm sitting there every single day doing that.
Right.
And then one of the coolest things that's happened, which has kind of lowered my daily literal blog traffic, but it's increased in a lot of ways the viewership, I guess you'd say, of it is Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. I ended up doing it through Networked Blogs. It's their official blogging application.
Right.
And it's really been a pretty big thing that way. So a lot of times the conversations that happen about my posts end up happening on Facebook rather than on my blog. So I get 0 comments, and you can't really base it on comments because well, there's so many. Like I visit every day, and I never ever. My favorite blog is Monday Morning Insight by Todd Rhodes.
Todd Rhodes, great
I love
stuff.
It. But
great stuff.
I've never posted a comment ever.
Yeah, I don't know that I have either. I don't know. Yeah. There's actually a new blog. I don't know if you've read it. It's a guy named John Saddington who's done a lot of tech stuff in the church world, but it's called Tent Blogger, and it's he's basically trying to help pastors, Christians learn how to blog full time.
That's cool.
And it's just a lot of really good tips how to set up a blog, and it's one I've been.
So what's it called again?
It's Tent Blogger.
Tent.
It's almost like he looks at it as his tent maker.
Yeah. Okay.
Ministry.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer. Like you said, I was one of those started blogging and kind of dropped off, and then about a year ago just really invested in it and trying to just really run with it. And I feel like there are conversations that for years have taken place in church vans and in corners of rooms where great things have been said and great ideas have been shared, but that's it. They stop right there. And I feel like through blogging, you can put those ideas out there. We can talk about those ideas. And I really believe that over the next 20 years, some of the major changes we're going to see in the church will be because of a conversation that started on a blog or on Facebook or on Twitter. There's just so many different ways that these conversations are moving into more of the public eye. And I love it. I mean, blogging has just been a great outlet for me, and it's just something I love to do,
Yeah, I think of blogging as jogging.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a book right now.
Right.
I'm about halfway through the manuscript.
Right.
And that one's the marathon race.
Right.
But by blogging every day or posting every day at least, and they're just writing regularly, you end up figuring out how to turn a phrase or make it sing or tighten it up a little bit. In other words, to say with 5 words what I would have said with 15 words. But if you say with 5, it's a whole lot crisper and better. So that's helped me. I think it's just helped me in my writing. The other thing I find is for my blog now, it's my best filing system. I have these filing cabinets full of stuff. I don't hardly ever go to them anymore because all of my good ideas, like the good quotes and thoughts that I would have filed away, I now post on my blog, and I post it under a what do you call it, like a topic kind of thing. And then I can search it on my blog and just find it just like that.
Yeah, that's been
and I can cut and paste, put it in my manuscript.
Well, like I said, Mark, I appreciate you just giving me the time. He's Table Rock Wesleyan Camp this week teaching a class that my youth pastor's in. And if he does not get a good grade, you just make sure you tell me, and I'll make sure I whip him into shape. Just tell everybody about where your blog is, and you're on Twitter, right? Are you on Twitter?
Well, it's kind of lame. I never ever check it. I just figured out an application so that my blog goes to Twitter.
Yes, and
I don't really know anything about it. I'm not a Twitterer really. But it's revitalizeyourchurch.blogspot.com. Or if you just Google Revitalize Your Church, you'll get it. Or Mark Wilson blog, you'll get it.
And you're also on Facebook, and we'll put links to the site to your blog and your Facebook, and go read it. It is good stuff. Set it up in your feed where it goes. Wherever you get your feed, get it there. And great things happening at your church. What's your church website?
It's haywardwesleyan.org.
So thank you again. Thanks for all you're doing, and we will see you guys later.